Stay straight.
Work it, bro. Don't feel intimidated.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
Cassandra. We have fellow WAO members in the house for this special meeting for today. This is Saturday, November 30th, our WAO Speech-a-thon. So this is a very special meeting. I would like to give our Vice President of Membership an acknowledgement. Dushan Mosley, thank you so much for hosting this for us, so that way we didn't have to find a space in order to do this, so we could do it within our time. So thank you, Dushan Mosley, for hosting. We have members that are slated today for delivering speeches from manuals, as well as CL roles from the CL project manual. Because we have a full agenda, I am ready to turn the lectern over to our Toastmaster of the day. Everyone, welcome to the lectern, our charter member, Tylay Lyle Shabikan, will be our Toastmaster.
My goodness. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and other guests.
Good morning.
Before I go into the meeting, I'd like to say happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone.
Happy gobble gobble
Well, happy gobble gobble to you too. Our word of the day will be thankful. Thankful. Everyone should be thankful that they're here today. They're alive, they're breathing. That's our word. Our theme, our club theme, is taking in many experiences. And as we know, every day of our lives, we take in many experiences. As a Toastmaster, as a being living on this earth. Now, our encounter for today is LaShondra. LaShondra, can you stand, please?
Yes. Good morning. As I counter today, I will be listening for every speaker that approaches the lectern for words such as and, then, but, of, how, you mean, like, run-ons, and things of that nature. I will tally up everything that I hear and give a report at the end of the meeting.
Thank you so very much for that thorough explanation. Our timer, no, the grammarian is Tylay Lyle Shabikan, and that is I. My word of the day, as I said, is thankful. We should all be thankful for our lives. On Thursday, I felt so much thankfulness. I showed appreciation for my family, my life, and everyone in this world. We're very thankful. So when you use the word thankful in each of your speaking roles, your speech, or whatever role you may have, think of the word thankful, because when you're thankful, you show appreciation and gratitude. The timer is Mutiat Lawal.
No, Dushan.
Oh, change. Dushan. Dushan is our timer.
Yes.
You want to give a brief before you stand?
I will be timing everyone. All the speeches today, as I look through the list, are 5 to 7 minutes. So you get the green at 1 minute, the yellow, 1.5 minutes, and the red. That's the end of the speech. Thank you.
We're not doing table numbers.
5, 6, 7.
He's a timer.
You said 5 to 7. And
5
you
to
said
7.
1.
5 to 7. So 5. I'll give you the green.
6, yellow.
The yellow.
6 yellow and 7.
7.
Correct.
Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Our general evaluator will be D. Marie Smith. You want to give a brief review or define what the general evaluator does?
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
As your general evaluator, I will evaluate the overall meeting. I have some secret agents whom you have already found out who they were, so they're not secret anymore, which is our timer, our owl counter, our grammarian, and we do have evaluators. They will give their reports before the conclusion of the meeting. I will come back and give an overall view of the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you so very much for giving us an overview of what the general evaluator does. At this time, I will introduce the inspirational moment speaker, which is self. I'm here again. Thank you so much. Inspirational moment. That's a moment that should move us all in a very positive way. As I look through my little book here of inspirational moments, quotes, this page fell into my mind, or to my eyes, by Edwin Markham. It says, "There is a destiny that makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. All that we send into the lives of others comes back into ours." In other words, you should be very careful in what you say to your brothers and sisters. Because if you think your words are only directed towards you, you are absolutely wrong. It's a negative. When you say negative things, that comes back to you. And negativity bounces back to you, okay? So your word is your wand. Be careful what you speak. Be careful with the words that you choose. Thank you for allowing me to share that with you. At this time, I will introduce you to speaker one, and that is LaShondra. But before I ask her to come to the lectern, I'd like to give you a brief bio of Ms. LaShondra Harris. She will be speaking from the Competent Communication Manual, which we call the CC. And the speech is her number 7 speech. The theme of that speech will be research your topic. The speech title, Financial Stress and Its Physical Effects. We all know about that. Introduction. The symptoms of the current economic forecast are clear. Foreclosures, escalating unemployment rates, job losses, frozen credit markets, and more. But many adverse physical effects plague us as well during these times. Let's take a closer look at how it's affecting us, our communities, and employ some strategies to minimize the damage. At this time, I'd like to introduce our speaker, LaShondra Harris. The speech title is Financial Stress and Its Physical Effects. Again, the speech title is Financial Stress and Its Physical Effects. Ms. Harris, would you like to come to the lectern?
Thank you. Good morning, guests, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
In today's economic condition, we are all subject to feeling the effects of what's happening in the market. A recent Washington Post article examined how the meltdown in the market has led to a sharp decline in credit scores for many. The article emphasized how poor credit makes it tougher to secure loans and to gain access to credit. The significant loss of wealth through foreclosures following the disproportionate number of costly subprime mortgages may place many in permanent bad credit underclass situations. Over 70 million people suffer from bad credit. The reality is bad credit touches people's lives in many ways, such as the inability to rent in more nicer neighborhoods, the inability to purchase inexpensive insurance We feel it in our car insurance, and our renter's insurance, and homeowner's insurance as well, with higher rates. And the inability to secure a better job sometimes and make more money. Speaking of money, money being the root of all evil, makes the world go round. However, money is the #1 cause of divorce, the #1 cause of stress, and 73% of Americans name money as their #1 stress factor. So let's talk about stress. Stress, it is a normal part of life, and it can be experienced from your environment, from your body, and from your own thoughts. Stress is the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or a response. The body reacts physically, mentally, or emotionally, sometimes referred to as fight or flight. The physical symptoms of stress bring into play reactions in your body that are vital for survival in life-threatening situations, otherwise known as the survival instincts. The brain releases large doses of adrenaline into the blood to prepare the way. This increases heart rates, blood pressure, and respiration rate. The blood is diverted away from the skin tissues to the vital organs and large muscle systems of the body, like the arms and the legs, which now have available to them large quantities of oxygen in preparation for any massive action that might be called for. If the conditions producing stress go away, the body adjusts and it restores back to its normal state, although it does take time. However, if a person continues to face challenges without relief or relaxation, the body becomes overworked and tension builds up. Physical symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, neck pains, back pains, high blood pressure, chest pains, heart disease, frequent colds, infections, rashes, itches, fatigue, constant tiredness, all become very noticeable because of stress. Stress aggravates many disorders that plague our communities. Hypertension, diabetes, multiple sclerosis, and many more. 75 to 90% of all doctor visits are stress related. Stress also leads to family fights, divorce, road rage, violence, and even suicidal thoughts. Some mental effects that surface: anxiety, nervousness, insomnia, bad dreams, difficulty concentrating, feelings of loneliness, worthlessness. Some emotional side effects: social withdrawal, isolation, increased use of alcohol, drugs, gambling, loss of interest at work, appearance, motivation. Adults report that their physical and emotional stress symptoms have increased by 47% within the last few years. If you find yourself experiencing some of these stress symptoms, as many of us do, I think I've summed myself up in this speech so far. Relax. Wait. There is something that we can do to help us through this. It is important that we, one, identify that we are in stressful situations and employ some techniques to help us relieve ourselves through these stressful times. So first, mind your words, as the inspirational speaker said just before I approached the lecture. Your words unlock powerful sources of strength. Watch your words, they become actions. Your actions become your habits become your character, and your character becomes your destiny. Keep smiling. Neurotransmitters called endorphins are released when you smile. and it makes you feel happy. It lowers stress, and even a fake smile will do the job. 3, recognize your victories. Take pride in the small things. When you do your best, results will come. It's inevitable. Number 4, eat the right foods. Foods that are high in vitamin B, B1, B6, vitamin C, magnesium, and zinc are natural fighters for stress. And last but not least, move. Exercise daily, 35 to 40 minutes to minimize stress. Ladies and gentlemen, I am thankful for this opportunity to share with you the effects of financial stress and its physical effects. I hope there's something that I've said that may move you into action to minimize your stress. Madam Toastmaster.
Bell.
Well, thank you. Everyone enjoyed your speech, and you gave some very informative information. As you said, stress, you didn't use the word lethal, but stress is very lethal. So thank you again. I forgot to mention that the evaluator for LaShondra will be Cassandra. Our next speaker will
1 minute
be-
of silence.
Oh, I'm sorry.
1 minute of
We're
silence.
gonna have 1 minute of silence on the
So-
clock.
Timer.
Good song. Time?
1 minute is up.
1 minute.
The 1 minute is up. So at this time, I will introduce our second speaker. And again, our first speaker, Chandra, that was a very beautiful speech and informative. So I'm very thankful that you stood here and gave us that informative information of how stress affects us emotionally, mentally, and physically. It's lethal. Thank you again. Our second speaker, at this time, I would like to introduce the name and then give a brief bio of the speaker. The second speaker is D. Marie Smith. She will be speaking from her Competent Communication Manual, which is called the CC. Her speech number is 9, and the title is Persuade with Power. The time for that speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. The title is Kwanzaa, and it will be taken from her HPL, which is our High Performance Leadership Manual. Before I call her to the lectern, I'd like to give a brief bio so you will know a little bit about her. D. Marie Smith, she has accomplished her ACB and her ALB, Advanced Competent Communicator, Bronze, and Advanced Leadership, Bronze. The Competent Communication CC Manual, the speech number 7, research your topic. 5 to 7 minutes. Again, the title or the project is research your topic. Oh, I'm sorry. The title is, the speech title is breast cancer. Is this what I have?
Flip it over.
Again, I will flip and erase. Her manual, 9th speech, persuade with power. Correction, speech title, Kwanzaa, from her HPL, the High Performance Leadership Manual. Introduction, DeMarie Smith is a native of Chicago who enjoys volunteering at local food pantries and bowling. She has a career as an auditor at a national insurance company. She joined WAO, Wrightwood-Ashburn Overcomers Toastmasters, to become an effective speaker who can overcome fear of speaking before people regardless of the size of the group or amount of time for the speech. So whether it's a short speech, 5 to 7 minutes, or a lengthier speech, 10 to 15 minutes, she's up for the task. Today she will be delivering speech number 9, Persuade with Power, from the Competent Communication Manual. The objectives of the speech are persuade listeners to adopt your viewpoint or ideas, or to take some action. Appeal to the audience's interests. Use logic, emotion to support your position. Avoid using notes. The title of DeMarie's speech is Kwanzaa, from her HPL, High Performance Leadership Manual. The time limit is 5 to 7 minutes. Please welcome DeMarie Smith, Kwanzaa. Again, please welcome DeMarie Smith, Kwanzaa, from her HPL manual.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
Morning.
Leadership is needed in today's society. Leadership in the home, leadership in public places, leadership in workplaces. Leadership is needed in the homes and in public places for our youth. We need to lead as examples, by example. Leadership is needed in churches. No, I'm not referencing the pastors, nor passive members, but leaders that will stand up, that will speak out. Leadership in the workplaces are not bosses, they're leaders. In the workplace, management is paying thousands of dollars to develop their supervisors and managers to become better leaders. Fellow Toastmasters, I employ you to do an HPL, High Performance Leadership. In Toastmasters, we're developed to be leaders. Yes, you can be born a leader. Look at Prince William. Just being born, because of his inheritance, he's a leader. However, through Toastmasters, we're made, we're developed. The High Performance Leadership Program is self-paced. It is self-developed. There are 6 dimensions in which they focus on. Those 6 dimensions are values and vision, direction, persuasion, support, development, and appreciation. I will utilize the skills that I've developed through this HPL program to be a chairperson over a Kwanzaa event. Our Kwanzaa event is being celebrated through our WAO members on December 29th. The Kwanzaa event is 7 days with 7 principles. Why did I choose December 29th? Because it is the 4th day of that Kwanzaa celebration. The 4th day being the 4th principle is umoja, which is maintain, to build, to support. Through the leadership program and the skills that is obtained, when you support your WAO Toastmasters, when you build what has already been planted, you will develop leadership skills. So I implore you again, if you have not done an HPL, do one. You will gain lots of leadership skills. You will enhance what you already have. And those skills that need to be nurtured through an HPL, you will nurture them. The Kwanzaa event is to celebrate our African American inheritance. We will celebrate through entertainment. We will celebrate through learning. What is Kwanzaa? What is the event about? What is our Black African American inheritance? How did it derive? We will grow. We will learn. And through this leadership program, I will have the opportunity to have an advisor team as well as a action team. That action team, if you have not done an HPL, it will be to your advantage, because when it's time for you to do one, you will be well prepared. The HPL program is for you. For you, one, to develop your leadership skills so you can display your vision, your values to your team. Two, to give direction. Show them, give them your vision, show them what direction, where you're going to take them to. Three, to persuade them and those guests that are coming in to the WAO family so that they will know what our WAO family is about. To persuade them to join, but it's all for you. To support, to show that you support the WAO family, to show the love and the unity that what Kwanzaa is all about. To develop, again, it is to develop your leadership skills, and it's also to impart in others what you have so that they may become developed. And to show appreciation, not just to the people that are coming to the WAO Kwanzaa event, but to show appreciation to your team members and to those that already support the Kwanzaa. My values, my core values for this is one, for you as members to invite guests. For you as members to have an opportunity to receive credit towards your competent communication as well as your competent leadership. Three, for you as guests to be welcomed to the family and to the event. And four, for all members, all guests to feel the love and to be welcomed and to have knowledge to gain. I ask you today, will you join me and share in this Kwanzaa event? WAO Toastmasters.
I love the way you critiqued the HPL project. That was very thorough. Great job. At this time, I'd like for the timer to give 1 minute on the clock for railroad tickets to write evaluation for Maureen.
up.
Minute is up. Before we go to the next speaker, I'd like to ask Ms. DeMarie if we have a date and time. You gave us a date, place and time.
It is
For
going
the
to be
event.
here at Deshawn's place from 3 to 6 p.m.
Okay, and further information will be given.
Yes, I emailed the flyer to everyone, and I do have one here available.
Okay,
If
so
needed.
the flyer has been
Yes.
created as well as it has been emailed to each and every member.
Yes.
So, very good. And if there are any questions after the meeting, we can further share the information.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Again, we're very thankful. At this time, I'd like to introduce our third speaker, Mutiat Lawal, Public Relations Advanced Manual, Speech 4, Speaking Under Fire, 3 to 5 minutes. The value, 3 to 5 minutes, plus 2 to 3 minutes Q&A, questions and answers. The speech title, What's with All the Sagging? Again, evaluator, the title is What's with All the Sagging? The evaluator will be Deshawn. At this time, I'd like to call Ms. Mutiat Lawal to the lectern.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters.
Good morning.
How's
Good morning.
everybody?
Everyone.
Good.
I'm
Great.
so thankful for this day and this opportunity to move forward to my ACG. Give it up for me.
All right. Yay.
I'm going to call an assistant. DeMarie, can you assist me with this, please?
Yes, I'm so
I do
thankful
have some
that you asked.
visuals, and I learned from my last evaluation that I should call someone to assist me instead of trying to maneuver my own props. So, DeMarie, if you can be our banner today and just make that visible for the audience to see. Today's topic is entitled, What's with All the Sagging? What I'm going to do is divide this topic into 2 portions. I'm going to deliver some information to you, and I'm going to ask for feedback. We're going to have a discussion. This is a controversial subject, so I'm going to present my side of it, and I'm going to attempt to defend what I'm presenting to you today. So please help me to develop this properly and give me some feedback so we can have a good discussion about this topic. What's with all the sagging? Sagging. We can call it the new fashion trend. It could be referred to as the down low, as pictured here. But for the purpose of my speech today, we're going to stick with sagging. What's with all the sagging? Sometimes when I see young men on the street, I wish I had a BB gun so I could kind of pop them in the briefs or in the boxers, because I really don't like seeing their underwear. But after seeing it so many times, and also stopping young men on the street to ask why. What is this about? Is this a fashion trend? Did you forget your belt at home? What is the problem? On numerous occasions, I've stopped young men to ask them just that. Why are you wearing your pants like that? And in more times than I'd like to imagine, I get the same response. I forgot my belt at home. That was what they said. No other reason. You forgot your belt. You knew you were coming out with a pair of pants on, and you forgot to adhere them properly to your waist. Okay. So let's just roll this thing back. I didn't accept that answer, so I'm not going with that. But let me roll this thing back and tell you what I think about all the sagging we're seeing today. I'm a child of the 60s, believe it or not. And in the 60s, I was a part of a group that was considered a subgroup. I was a part of a group that was subcultural. I was below the norm. At that time, I did something that was pretty bold and pretty dynamic. I adopted this hairstyle, the natural. And in 1967, when I decided to throw away the straightening comb and not straighten my hair anymore, I had never had a perm. So the straightening comb was about as close as I got to doing my hair differently than it grew out of my head. When I decided that I would no longer do that, an interesting thing occurred. I could get on a Chicago city bus and I could sit anywhere I wanted because people didn't know how to take that. They were actually frightened of me. So as I go to sit down, they move. Somebody would move again. And you know what that did for me? It empowered me. I thought I was the baddest thing around. I was foxy brown, cocoa brown, and all kind of browns rolled up into one. Yeah. Simply by changing my hairstyle. But for me, it was more than a fashion trend. I was able to empower myself, learn more about my African roots and history, and embrace it. It was me. I was it, and I wasn't ashamed of it, nor am I today. And many years later, I'm still what is considered a happy nappy. Happy with my naturalness, my authentic self. And that's why when I see these young men, I had to question, is everybody forgetting a belt on purpose? Let's take it back a few decades to the Guess jeans and the Levi's and the quote skinny kind of jean look. Not what we're wearing today by any means, but not loose fitting either. During my research, I discovered that black males in particular were uncomfortable with the tight-fitting jeans. And so they went to something that was referred to as the baggy look. All of you remember that baggy look? They were buying pants too large. They were putting rubber bands on the bottom because they were flooding the ground. And I mean flooding in the sense of running over and not hiking up. And I kept thinking, why are my sons buying their pants so big? So they bought them large to have that loose fit. And when I think about men on the continent of Africa, they always wear a loose-fitting pants garment. So perhaps our men are not comfortable in tight pants. Then you had the lowrider effect. Everybody remembers the lowrider? The jeans that I still pull up because I'm not used to wearing pants falling down. So what we have, ladies and gentlemen, is a combination of the lowrider baggy, more commonly referred to as sagging. If you will, look to this side. Nice group of young men. These were the 6 original Black Panther Party members. They started the party. And as long as they looked like that, they were non-threatening. They were comfortable. But as soon as they changed that uniform and got even more uniform.
Trainer as well as inspirational speaker for almost 20 years, 5 common speech aids that anyone can use no matter where they start in their speaking career. Now those speech aids are going to be note cards, scripts, microphone, lectern, and props. Those will be the 5 that I'll focus on. As I mentioned, I have over 20 years, or close to, I should say close to, not over yet, yet close to 20 years working as an inspirational speaker and corporate trainer. So I've observed many things happening with speakers and their use of speech aids. One of the more common ones that we see often, and we actually saw them being used today, are note cards. Of course, note cards can come in the small 3x5 version. One of the number one don'ts I've seen is don't try and write every single thing for your speech on that note card. And the other don't I would say is don't think that you have to be stuck to only one note card. A do that I have for the note card is do make certain that you're using note cards that are large enough for you to write your message on. As you'll notice, I found a trick with the note cards, and that is I found a spiral bound note card that's in 4x6 version, so that way they don't fall out my hand, and even if they fall on the floor, there's still some order to them. Speaking of order, that leads me to another do. With your note cards, whether you use them in a loose format or the spiral bound format, number them. Number them. That way, if you find you're flipping to another point because your audience is giving you the energy you need to move ahead and you're skipping a card, you know exactly where you're moving to. That adds to the ad-libbing that we as speakers have flexibility over doing. I also say make certain that you number them so that way as you're going through your process of delivering your message, you know exactly the order in which you're delivering your message. So the note cards, again, you can use them in any size that you want. Just remember that you don't want to use only one because that means you're writing every single thing you're thinking of regarding your topic on that one card. Move over to multiple cards. And you can move into multiple cards that are connected, such as this, or multiple cards where you've made certain that you've organized them with the numbers, so that way you can keep flipping. And the key for flipping, as I mentioned, if you had multiple cards, you would speak from the right, flip over to the left. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking of flipping. That leads me to another one of our aids that we can use, and that's a script. Scripts can come in any format that is most comfortable for you. I've seen speakers use a 3-ring binder that's about this size, either 1/2-inch ring or 1-inch ring, and they've put their speech in sheet protectors so that it's easy for them to flip the message. What you do when you're using your script, you want to have one sheet, or actually let me rephrase that, you can have 2 sheets in there. One of the do's is make certain you don't, or one of the don'ts, don't have empty sheet protectors. The do is put 2 sheets in there where they're back to back. So the first page of your script will go on one side, the second page of your script goes on the other side, and then you just go pages 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, so on and so forth. Also for easy flipping. The other thing I've noticed with the script, and I have seen people use scripts where they have actually had them as loose pieces of paper. Those scripts as loose pieces of paper, many times you will see the entire phrase as this first page here, going from top down to bottom. One of the key things you'll notice with this script is there's nothing at the bottom. There's a trick for using a script where you're making sure if you're here at the lectern, you can see your words and still give your audience eye contact, that you'll be able to keep everything above the fold. So if I folded the script in half, I'll get a fold line. Anything above the fold should all be text. Anything below the fold gives us the ability to keep our eyes at appropriate eye contact level. And again, with your scripts, as you would with your note card, you would have your script placed on the right side of your lectern, so that way when you're done with page 1 of your script, you flip it over to the left, you turn it over. The other trick with using a script here, I would say, is make the font 18 point. You don't want to guess as to what you're saying, and also it gives you an opportunity to read see more words, look up and speak those words to your audience. The script can be in either format. As you'll notice, I have two versions here. You make them as comfortable as you want to make them. Yet remember, don't make the words so small. Don't put so much on the page. And when you are using your script, do keep them loose and do make the text 18 point, whether that's Times New Romans or as we have now, the Calibri. That's the new font that we use. So those are two areas there. Let me mention the third speech aid. And we sometimes see this being used, not all the time in the Toastmaster environment, yet that's the microphone. Something I've noticed with the microphone is that many times people don't put the microphone where they need the microphone. Remember that when you come to set your space, do make the microphone comfortable for your height and for where you need it. Absolutely. I've seen in a district meeting, our Lieutenant Governor of Marketing is quite short in stature. But one of the first things she does before she opens her mouth to speak is she adjusts that microphone so that way as she's here, she's speaking without having to lean in like this. The other issue I've seen with the microphone is when we have a microphone glitch, such as this. I say don't panic when your microphone is giving you feedback. Do pause. Do allow that time for your tech person to come and make the adjustments. And usually if you're speaking and it does this, that gives your tech person the clue that they need to come and adjust that microphone for you. Pause, give them the room to get there. Again, don't panic. And also don't say, oh, forget this thing, I don't need it, I can talk loud enough.
Yeah, that happens too.
Let your tech person get there to adjust it for you. The final two speech aids that I want to mention that we do use a lot in our club environment, we've been using one of them today, our podium or our lectern. Now we know a podium is the lectern on a stage. When it's raised up off the floor, that's when we call it a podium. So if you see someone speaking at a banquet or a graduation dinner or even at a big annual event for their company, they're more than likely going to be on a stage, platforms that is rising everything. That gadget at that point is considered a podium. What we're using right now is a lectern because it's on the floor. One of the key things with lecterns that I've noticed in our club environment is we have to pay attention to the appropriate entering and exiting. In our club environment, we're using so much equipment now that if you're on one side of the room, you could walk across the stage area in front of the screen and your image goes up on the screen right along with the image of the agenda. Really what you want to do is walk around so that way you're not in that situation. As a matter of fact, let me get a volunteer. Madam Toastmaster, come. We've been doing this today. Something you'll notice with our lectern here is that there's only one side to enter and exit. So when we enter, as she's entering and I'm exiting, I want to step behind her so that way she has more room in which to enter and vice versa. So that's how you make it more comfortable to exchange the lectern.
The holder goes behind.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Give her a round of applause. And the final one, actually, I could take this one out because it was done so perfectly today. As a matter of fact, props was the last speech aid I was going to mention, and I love the fact that Mutiat Lawal in her speech just before me demonstrated how to utilize props appropriately. I mentioned to her in one of her previous speeches, I said, your prop that was behind the lectern, I didn't know it was your prop. And I kept stepping on it and stepping on it every time I walked into the lectern. I took it and I moved it off on the side. Unfortunately for her, when it was time for her to use it, she didn't know exactly where it was. She couldn't find it. She found it but it took a delay. That leads me to a don't with props. Don't set your props in a place and not inform your team that your prop is there. In a team, I mean whoever's the announcer or your MC for your meeting, whoever's serving as your sergeant at arms or your helper for the meeting, at least 2 other people need to know that your prop is here. And ask, where's the best place you want me to set this? And then also think about it from a standpoint for you as the speaker. I'm speaking. Where would it be easiest for me to have it? Now, sometimes we have a speaker's table off on the side where we can have all of our props set. So that way, when it's time for me to utilize these props, I can silently walk over and grab the props myself, bring them into my speaking area, and begin to talk about them as I need to. Or you do what you saw Mutiat do today. Have an assistant. Have someone that you can call from the audience. And as a matter of fact, that's a great trick, because if you call someone up from the audience, everybody else is thinking, ooh, how did she get a chance to do that? How can I be a part of it the next time? It brings the audience more into your presentation, because not only are you using an inanimate object as a speech aid at that point, but now you're also using a live person as a speech aid too. Lots of do's, lots of don'ts. And as you may have noticed, I covered as much as I could within the brief time that I had, and I could continue to go on and on and on. Yet out of the 5 speech aids that I've mentioned, the note cards, the script, the microphone, as well as the lectern, and even our props, remember for yourself, they are the supporting material. They're not the superstars. You are the Denzel Washington. They need to be the car. Madam Toastmaster.